Well, good morning everyone, I hope you're all well. I'm back on the road this morning after quite a hectic few days. When I say we, the Norfolk Angling Club, we've just completed the second leg of our challenge match with the Eastbourne Nomads. So with a very early start for me on Sunday morning, some of the lads went down the previous day and had a look around and went out for a few drinks with the lads from the Nomads on the Saturday evening. I couldn't actually make that, so I left early hours of Sunday morning and had a pretty trouble-free journey all the way there. Left at 2:30 in the morning and I literally arrived in Eastbourne at 5:30, just in time for when the cafe opened. They'd arranged a cafe to be open a little bit earlier for us so we could all get in there for breakfast. And then we had a draw in there, paid all our pause money, and then headed off to the beach. Now we were all hoping to go down there and catch a few plaice because this is the sort of time of year they start showing up. Unfortunately, a few days before there'd been quite a nasty easterly wind blowing, and that had sort of roughed up the water and coloured it all up, which meant it was going to be a little bit tricky for the plaice. There was one or two caught. In fact, two of our club members had plaice. Roger had a couple of on an actual double shot in one cast, and Julian managed this beauty of 35 centimetres, I believe it was, which won the biggest flatfish award. As a team, we struggled a little bit to cope with those conditions. We were scratching out small whiting, rockling, dabs and things like that. No dogfish really showed up. I think there was one caught out of the 30 anglers, so it's two teams of 15. Eastbourne Nomads fished brilliantly on the day and won the overall, so they're 2-0 up in the series now. I think they're going to keep this thing going and arrange another leg somewhere in the future, which is good. Everyone enjoyed it, and hopefully next time I might be able to get away on the Saturday as well. So following that, straight after the match, we went back to the HQ with a little presentation, and they'd laid on a smashing little buffet for us as well. And then we also had a goodbyes and headed off home. And that again was quite surprising. I left at 2:30 in the afternoon, and I was back in Norwich by 6 p.m. So just 3.5 hours on the way back. For a Sunday afternoon, that's not too bad. And again, trouble free, no roadworks or accidents or anything to hold us up. So yeah, all in all, in a very enjoyable day indeed. So after that, it was up on the Monday morning and get my gear ready, because Monday night was obviously the Norfolk Angling Club's first Summer League match of the series, and that was due to be held at Trimmingham. When we assembled down at Trimmingham, it was quite a lively scene, and again that made things quite difficult. It's nice to see some new anglers there and welcome them. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best fishing conditions for them, but all I can say is it will get better. Yeah, it was won. That match was won with a big single bass of 50+ centimetres, and that was by a guy, Tom Gibbs. There was, I think, one other bass caught next to me by Luke Childerhouse, and that was 30-odd centimetres. Apart from that, it was again a case of scratching out some whiting, some pouting, and I think there was a few rockling caught as well. There wasn't any flatfish caught on that match, so that was quite unusual. So that brings us to this morning. We're now, third week in March, and we've actually got a fairly decent bit of weather the last few days. In fact, we had 15 or 16 degrees highs yesterday and sunny day. So I was out in the garden getting my bits and pieces ready yesterday in a t-shirt and shorts for the first time this year. So with all that driving over the weekend, what I've decided to do is go somewhere a little bit nearer this time today, and I'm heading back into the Pakefield area to pick up another mark which I haven't actually covered. I think on my original Pakefield video I put the details in, and this particular beach I'm going to go and fish today is called CEFAS, which is where the Ministry Fisheries building is. So that's where I'm heading today. It's going to take about an hour. I've just got off the NDR down the 47, and I'm now just going to join the Beccles Road, straight to Beccles, and then it's really not too far from there. So what I'll do is get on with the driving and bring you back when we're near the mark. So what I've done is I've come along the 146 up to Colville, and then cut through, and I'm going to now head for this CEFAS building. I'm going to check out the parking there, because I've been told there is some free parking there. I've never actually parked there, I've always parked in the car park. So that's what I'll do first of all. It's just up here, there's a right turn. It takes us down onto Pakefield Road. If you go back to the video I've done, the first video on Pakefield, you'll see the 4 main car parks all marked, postcodes and everything to get to them. But as I say, before I get parked up, I want to go and check the CEFAS bit out, because I think there is some on the side of the road free parking there. I intend to go back and park where I normally do, but I'm just going to do this for your benefit. Should be some signs really for that CEFAS building. I think we have to cut back on ourselves, if I remember rightly. Yeah. There's the building just down there, but that's a one-way street, so it's in this road here. Pakefield Cliffs. So that's telling me here there's a no left turn. I see. No entry up that side. This is the actual CEFAS building here on the right. And from what I can make out, people were parking on this left-hand side here. There's no signs or anything. Obviously, this is probably, these bays on the right are probably for the CEFAS staff. I shan't be going to park on those bays. And spin round. So there is a camper van parked there, and it does look like it's been clamped. So I would suggest that parking on this side may not be the way to go. It's got some sort of thing on there. It's definitely been clamped. So, yeah. I'm going to head for the Pakefield Cliff car park, as I said, where I normally go. So, literally down this road here. Sea mist by the looks of it. Yeah, and this is where I normally park. I think someone did say that you can park on the outside here for free, but I mean, I don't begrudge paying £4 a day. You can almost see the car from where I'm going to park, from the beach where I'm fishing, so I don't mind that at all. I'm just going to put it on the side of here. As you can see, there's the beach. What I'll do now is get some gear out and get down there. Okay, so that's the CEFAS building there in the distance there, and the car park I'm in is just up the top there. You can probably just see my red car at the top, and it's literally just down that little flight of stairs straight onto the prom, and then a 6-inch step down onto the sand, a little bit of sand, about 50 or 60 yards, and you'll cross onto the actual beach. I'll just quickly whack the shelter up, because as I got out of the car and come down there was quite a stiff, I'd say it was a northeasterly breeze cutting down the beach, and it's a little bit cool. That's why that sea mists here, I would imagine. Up on the top there you've got the Jolly Sailors, which is the next mark, and there's the railings and the steps to get down over there. That's another car park, as I pointed out in the last video. Got a few other anglers further up the beach there, obviously in front of the Jolly Sailors. And the other mark I fished is right in the distance there, about where that sand starts on those cliffs. So what I'm going to do now is get some gear, get some rods together and make a start. Right, as usual, I've just set up the one rod for starters. Tournament Match Pros again today. I'm going to put 2 of them up. Millionaire reels, £15 lines, £70 shock leaders, all sort of standard stuff I do every time. Got a 6-ounce plain lead on there. I'm just going to give that a test cast now and bed the reel, because that one hasn't been cast since it's been a bit, and then come back, set about getting some rigs ready, some baits and getting a rod out. So let me do that first. So after the previous session I went home and done a bit of tweaking with the rig I was using. If you can remember, I was using this rig, which is a very short paternostered off, about 6 or 8 inches up from the lead. I've got a splashdown on there, and what I was doing is literally with the bait hook putting it into the splashdown. So I was having the hook hanging down like that, baited. When you cast out, that hook then follows up behind the lead, releases, and you're left with a 3 or 4 foot hook link depending on what you want. And that was that version. So I've now done a little bit of a modification to that. Okay, so with the new version, it's exactly the same length, roughly about 8 or 10 inches. The hook link's paternostered, and I've got it on a quick release clip like I always do, makes things easier. Instead of having a splashdown on the bottom, this time I'm using an imp. And the reason I can use an imp is because I've put just a little bit further up that little hook. And what that does is that retains the hook link behind the lead, which is what I was trying to achieve. Although I didn't get any tangles last time, I did see that it was flapping around, as it was casting out, it was flapping around behind the lead. So with this new setup, that little bit of silicone hooks in the imp like that, that little bit of silicone with a little tiny little hook there, which means it's a swivel about 3 or 4 inches from the hook, which also acts as a bait stop. Now when that goes out and that releases, that little hook automatically will dump that swivel, and you're left fishing your 3 or 4 foot hook link again. It means I can use imps, which I do like. Apart from that, everything else the same. So I'm going to fish this one today, give it a try. I think that hook with the bait tucked in behind will give it a little bit more distance and a little bit more streamlining than having it hanging down. The other rig I'm going to use on the other rod is a standard up and over, which you've probably all seen before. It's basically a running ledger rig, hooks up and over for the cast and tucks in behind the lead with the bait as usual. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get this one baited, sent out, and we'll see how we go with that one. Okay, so today's baits, as you can see, I've got a little bit of squid for cutting up strips. I've got a bluey there, a large herring, and I've got a couple of little fillets of mackerel, and I've also got tucked away in the cool bag still a wrap of fresh blacks, which I might have a little go at later on. Just spoke to one of the locals, and he said there was plenty of fish here yesterday, quite a lot of whiting, dabs and pouting. Okay, so I just took a gap in the traffic, if you like. There's loads and loads of people walking dogs and walking on the beach. So I've quickly got that first rod baited up and chucked out while there was a gap in the people. I baited that experimental rig with a little clip back on the imp with a strip of mackerel bound up with a little bit of squid. It's on a single 3/0 hook, and I've chucked that out as far as I can, first cast, just to see what happens, whether there's any weed, tide, etc. It's a nice little bit of surf on the sea. So what I'm going to do in a minute is get that second rod made up quickly, and what I might do is put a different rig on there, something like 2 hook flapper or something, size 1 hooks, and then fish that closer in, and I'll baited it up with couple of little fresh lugworm baits which I had left from the match the other night. I've just popped that about 30 yards out. Potentially flatties. The big bait's been out about 10 minutes now. I haven't seen anything on there. It's around about 11 o'clock now, and I've got a high tide today of 1:45, so I've got plenty of time to fish it up, and then I'll fish it a couple of hours down as I usually do. Dog's decided to join me out the front. She's having a little survey of the beach. Plenty of other dogs about. That's the only snag. It seems very, very busy here today. So good little spell of weather always brings everyone out. So after I just spoke to there was a guy doing some metal detecting on the beach. He's a local and he's also an angler. And I double checked with him about the parking. So the little bit of parking on the side of the road directly outside the car park is free. There's a couple of little restricted areas in front of someone's house, but the rest of it is technically free. So if you don't want to pay, or you're only here for a short session, just you can park on there. I asked him about the parking outside CEFAS, where that van had been clamped this morning. As far as he knew, that was okay, but I told him about the van. He said, well, you know, maybe it was because it was a camper van. But personally, I don't like to take chances, and as I say, for the sake of £4 for a day's fishing, I think that's quite reasonable, and I can literally see my car from here. That's the next bait ready to go out. It's a little bluey bait, that size of my thumb. That's going out on the up and over rig next. Okay, that's had about 20 minutes now. The right hand rod, which was the big bait. I've now prepared the up and over rig and a nice bluey bait. I'm going to swap them over now. Let's see what's going on here. Moved a fraction down tide. I haven't actually seen any indications on it. Whistling again, the line. Gives you an idea that it's quite a stiff breeze. There's actually a little bit of weight on here, but as I say, I haven't seen anything. Definitely feels like more than lead. What we got here? Tiny little blob of weed on the leader knot, but that will even come straight through the rings. That's that small. And we've got, it's come straight through the rings, and there's a whiting on there. It's hung itself. Little slinky whiting. There you go, first fish. The rig's unhooked perfectly. So I'm going to get that changed over for the up and over. Got my bucket there with a bit of water in. We'll check where the other line is. That's still out to the left. Buzz this one out. Gone out a similar sort of distance, 80 yards I suppose. Quite deep water, fairly close in here, so I don't think we've got to go big distance. And there you go. First one of the day, a little whiting, not really a surprise. I'm just going to give that left hand rod a check. That's had 15 minutes now. Had a couple of little rattles on it earlier on, but they stopped. would you believe it? That closer in one is bloody stuck. Well, actually it's coming, whatever it is. Whether it's tackle, it's coming. That's one good thing, I suppose. Wasn't that far out, to be honest. Can't feel it pulling back, so my feeling is it's going to be some gear. If I can just get that shock leader to the edge, I can go and hand line that in. I see the shock leader now. Wow, what's going on here? Yeah, pile of something coming in with a fish as well. A right old mixed bag coming up here. Got a fish though. Let's put that in there. And this is my rig, and I've got little skinny whiting and also micro dab on the other one. There's a dogfish tangled up in someone else's gear, so need a bit of sorting out here. Let me just get that. Stay away, Sade. Dog's interested in the dogfish, funny enough. Right, let's get those two in there, because I know that's my gear. He's still alive, the doggy, so that's a bonus. I can get him unhooked and get him back. Let's get my gear off of there. That's mine. There's another load of gear hanging on that. Look, there's a little doggy. Someone else's gear. So we'll do a bit of surgical removal with the scissors. Let's get that off of there first. There's line everywhere. Right, don't scratch me, I'm trying to get you off. Yeah, he's been spinning round and there's quite a few loops round, but I can get them out easy enough. That's all the line. That's it. Just got to unhook him now, and he's off. Don't scratch me. I'm trying to do you a favour. There you go. All that lot there to sort out from my dog. Where he is. Got his eyes shut, don't blame him. He can go back, and I've got some more gear still to come out the sea. Quite a mess of line. I've got loops of it everywhere here. I'm trying to get untangled from it. There's another rig on here by the feel of it. Yeah, there's something else on here. Fish as well, I think. Yeah, double shot of whiting. They're dead. Got another set of gear. Yeah, they're actually been mullered. Unfortunately, there's a panel hook with two whiting on. Someone else's gear again. I'm afraid they're long gone. So at least I'm getting all this line out of the way. I've got a bag in there. I shall sort all that out. Not surprised. It looks like £15 line straight to the rig there. No surprise I've lost it. Right, that's that line. It's everywhere. Where are you now? Right, that's also attached to that. Yes, a bit of a mess. Right, what I can do is get that in my bucket. Afraid I can't do nothing for those two fish. They're long gone. They've been eaten by crabs and been in there a long while by the looks of it. They were actually on a pennel hook, so one snood with two hooks has picked up those two whiting. They've cracked off. They've obviously been anchored to the bottom and perished.
Right, so we've got hooks and line there. Right, with my little one I have to make sure that's all. There's a bit of seaweed there. Right, now we're dealing with my two. My rig looks fairly, oh that's alright, let's come off. Yep, they're okay, they can go straight back. Little dab and a tiny little whiting on the little worm rig, which is basically what that went out there for. So yeah, they're my two, and I've got a bit of sorting out to do now with half a ton of line. So there it is, the aftermath of what I've just brought in. There's two leads in there, God knows how much line, and I don't know if you can notice that line blowing around in the breeze. That's possibly £10, maybe £12 max, and that was straight to the top of the rig. There's no shock leader. The actual rig looked like £50 or £60 rig body, but all the other line on there is light. You could use £15 to £20 onto a £60 shock leader, probably avoid all of that. The only good thing is I've managed to drag it out of the sea. Just get a few little taps on that right hand rod, which is the big bait. Potentially another whiting maybe hanging on there, or something small. It's all unclipped and it's all as it should be. That was the up and over. This one I'm going to be putting out as far as I can. Okay, what I've done is just move the shelter and the rods round slightly, because that sun was starting to absolutely blind me coming in the front, and I shouldn't think the film footage was much better. So I've moved around a little bit. You can see that the sea's now chopped up quite a bit since we got here this morning. I haven't moved the left hand rod since that Tangled episode with all that line, but I have got something tapping away on there. So that's the next job, is to get that left hand rod in. We've got two little fresh lugworm baits in it now on the little 2-hook flapper. I'm going to put that back out just to the left of that other one. Little rattle on the left hand rod. Those worm baits I just put out. There it goes. I think I'll get that in just to check. If not, I've got two nice fresh blacks here ready to go out. Feels like there could be something on here. Yeah, another whiting. In fact, it's a double shot. A micro whiting and an undersized whiting. And that dog's just eaten my squid offcuts. And then legged it. Tiny little undersize. And a just undersize. Straight in the bucket. What I'll do is get baited up first, then deal with them afterwards. Alright, let's pop this back out.
take long for those blacks to work. That left hand rod's going mental. I've just started on the sandwich as well. It's typical. I finished the sandwich now and it stopped. That is potentially still hanging on there. But as there's 2 hooks, we can leave that out for a bit longer. Well, the right hand rod's going as well now. Well, as the right hand rod's been out longer, I think I'm going to bring that one in first. Potentially there's a little white and rattling around on there. Yeah. Let's do that now. That's line as well on there by the feel of it. It's not coming, that one. That's not good news. It's been out a while, that one, so it might be weed pulled it round. Gone. Lost it. Anyway, I'll get another leader put on that. Won't take too long. Right, I've got that left hand rod, which was the right hand rod, the one that got snagged. I've just quickly put a new leader on there. I have all my leaders on spools, cut to the right length with the swivel already on the end and the other end blobbed, so I can quickly just join it to the main line, take a couple of foot off just in case there's any chafing, join it to the main line, reel it onto the reel. Pretty quick and easy. I have about 4 or 5 of them already done in a box, so it is very quick to change a leader on the beach. Another little slinky whiting. I'm surprised there's still quite a few of these in the sea. They normally start disappearing now. So just running through where we are again today. I'm at CEFAS, right in front of the building. This is the 4th spot in my first Pakefield video, and I've parked in the car park rather than outside the CEFAS building. So as far as facilities go, there's not a great deal here really. I've got the Jolly Sailors pub within, I don't know, a 5-minute walk I suppose, if that, up on the cliff top right next to me. I know there's a convenience store just down a few streets down from where I'm parked, and just around the corner from where I parked there's also a fish and chip shop. But apart from that, very little other facilities out down here. Now, toilets wise, I'm not sure, but someone did say that there was some toilets up by the next set of beach huts. Now, I can't confirm that because I haven't been up there, but that's something, if you're you know, that way inclined, you need to know where the toilets are. I would definitely double check that before you come down here. Fishing wise, so bass, dogfish, get rays. This time of the year, we're just moving now into the spring, so your rays. Smooth hounds will turn up here at some point, I would have thought. I've heard of them in the past. Yeah, so what I would say is it's a fairly easy access beach. Just a few steps to come down and you can do exactly what I've done. I've not fished far away from the bottom of the steps today. I would have thought the further right you walk, the further left you walk, give you a bit of beach to yourselves. It does seem quite a busy dog walker beach, that I will say. Probably the good weather starting to bring people out with their dogs, but there's definitely been a lot of dogs up and down today. So I should imagine at weekends it could be wall-to-wall dogs, 4-legged variety. That's up and away this time. Got 15 minutes to high tide. Out she goes, all intact, bang. Another whiting.
the worm. It's only lip hooked. That's good. Same combination again, a black on the top and a squid bait on the bottom. Right hand rod with the bigger bait has just pulled down. It's not gone slack yet. There's a definite pull. Yeah, a few more taps, I'm going to add that in. There's a little bit of weight. Only a little bit though. And a little dab this time as well. Let's took the worm this time. Tiny little dab. It's 2 o'clock now, so we're just after high. You can see that left hand rod tapping away. So I'm going to get that in, find out what's making that fuss on the end of there, and then potentially put it out again. That's a slightly better one. That one is a dab. I see straight through it. But all together, a much better dab. There you go. And he's took that tiny little strip of black, which I thought he would. And it's in immaculate condition for a change. There you go. Nice little dab. Quite thick. Okay, so that little experiment worked. It's the one with the tip with bluey that's been taken, and they're both little pieces of black, and both of them now tipped with a tiny little strip of bluey as well. Left hand rod's going straight away. It's not been out 2 minutes with those tiny little baits on. No, tiny little pin whiting. Little bit of weight there, it feels like it, unless it's dragging up that bank. What have we got here? Like something on there. Yeah. And a whiting. Decent one this time. That is a nice whiting. That is actually a proper whiting, that one. So yeah, if they were all like that, they'd be good sport. I'll get a couple more chances of a bigger fish on this one. Yeah, so that last whiting was just under 33 centimetres. If you could get a few more like that, it's not so bad. It's just these very small ones that are irritating, because once they jump on your hook, nothing else is going to get to your bait. I'm probably going to prep another bait for the big rod, so when that comes in I can change that over. and maybe a change or two for the little scratching rod. Well, there is, yeah, a little flatty. Another little dab. Yeah, it's in good nick as well. At least on this coast, the old dabs don't have that green camouflage all over them. Another tiny little dab. Barely had time to bait up another rig for that other rod, and that left-hand rod's flapping away again, look. A nice little double shot that time. Another decent dab, and a just undersized whiting. And the stamp of the dabs and the quality of them are absolutely brilliant compared to what we catch up on North Norfolk. They're all green and horrible. Launch this for the final time today. Gosh. Other information, if you want any more information, look back at the original Pakefield video I did, and that will give you some extra information regarding the other parking spots for the other parts of this beach. So after these two rods come in now, I'm going to wrap up and head home. Thank you very much for watching if you've got this far. Little mixed bag of fish today. It's kept me busy. The little scratching rod on the left hasn't stopped going since I've scaled the baits down. I lost one set of gear, but I then, obviously, when I retrieved all that junk earlier, there was two sets of gear in there. So I've lost one lead and got two back. So can't really complain at that. There is a tiny little dab on there, and that is on the straight bit of bluey, the top hook. So that's sort of proved the point really, that bluey was what was attracting them. The tiniest dab in the world. See if I can get him off. Yep, he's straight off. That's good. Feels heavy. Another whiting, and another better whiting as well. So those better whiting are further out by the looks of it, and taking the bigger baits. So there you go. That's a clonker. Look at that one. Quickly put it on the measure. Let's see what we've got here. Wow, 36 that one. 36. See that?